football game?
But first, also, good leg.
Better than the hammer, right, Tracy? Trying to hammer out the Wittenberg across the field version. Great. Well, fantastic. The informal meeting of City Commission is called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Here.
Mrs. Houston? Mrs. Tackett? Here. Mr. Rue?
Here. We'll ask our Assistant City Manager, Tom Franzen, to take the meeting.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Tonight we have a couple of presentations during the work session, one from Wittenberg University and one from 2051, a strategic planning exercise or program going on in the community. But first, I'd like to introduce Dr. Christian Brady, the 16th president of Wittenberg University. He will be giving us an update on the university as well as maybe some upcoming events. Dr. Brady, welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're auto on. It's a pleasure to be with you all here, and thank you very much. Many of you have reached out already and welcomed myself and my wife Elizabeth to town, for which we're grateful. Main thing is to see her beautiful face, not me. But I arrived on June 1, overlapped for a month with President Mike Franzen, and then started flying solo, as it were, on July 1. Immediately welcomed here in Springfield and very grateful for that. Just to give you a little background about myself, I've been the dean of two different honors colleges at R1. So first 10 years at Penn State University, and then I was invited down to University of Kentucky to, it was a slight pause just in case there are any Louisville folks here. No, we're good. Then set up a new honors college there. So we're thrilled to be here. I am very much a liberal arts person, with my background being in biblical and rabbinic literature as my academic background. No one is unaware, I think, in this room of the challenges that Wittenberg University has faced in recent years. And I am feeling confident that we can overcome them. But not without working together and making our way forward. All of higher education is facing challenges, but in particular, of course, small liberal arts colleges like ours. And in so doing and starting to build and change, introduce the Wittenberg way, which is, it's a bit slogany, but it actually just emerged out of a conversation about how do we do things educationally? What is the experience that one has in Wittenberg? And so in red, you can see seeking to sort of encapsulate our mission and our values, tell our students that on the Wittenberg way, they will discern their calling, develop the knowledge and skills needed for a successful career, and prepare for a purposeful and fulfilling life. So this is what liberal arts brings, is a broad-based educational experience full of critical thinking and problem solving, but also grounded in the Lutheran traditions that really encourage the introspection and spiritual development that allows one to really reflect on what is their calling in life beyond, well, I'm going to major in this so I can get a job in that, but rather having a much broader sense of call to service and mission, such as clearly all of you have. Therefore, you're here on this board. And on council, the strategic planning process is a bit familiar. We're getting started on our own strategic plan. Bob and Lynn Ness, those who have been around Wittenberg know their names well. They are long-standing and committed alumni to Wittenberg University. They've given us a gift to allow us to jumpstart this process and this program. I can speak more if you like, but I will just say here that I am a firm believer in strategic plans, not just so that I can say as a president I've done this, but because of the substance that goes with it. It will be used, reviewed on a regular basis as we go forward. And it sets the standard for how we're going to go forward, but it will be rooted in our mission and our values. One of the key areas that we've all been known for, and I was just speaking with a gentleman who since childhood has been coming to basketball and football at Wittenberg, is our athletics. A number of small universities and colleges have sought to continue to keep their head above the water through athletics, and this program was begun before I arrived, but I think we're working to do it in exactly the right way. we have seen fewer women attending Wittenberg in the last couple of years, and yet there are emerging some new and important areas for women to continue to compete into college. Stunt cheer being one of the main ones. We're bringing back men's wrestling, but we're adding women's wrestling, adding hockey, both men's and women's ice hockey, and then flag football, which the NFL is getting behind quite firmly. I am told, I have not yet confirmed it, that each NFL franchise is supposed to have a collegiate partner. And I'm also told, and I'm seeking to confirm, that the Bengals do not have one. Tiger and Tiger, it just seems reasonable. So we're looking to see that. But where we are striking a particularly different path than many of these other schools is our alumni have stepped forward to donate the funds needed, not just to get us off the ground for the first year, but to keep these sports running for their first 4 years. And that's important on the dollars and cents side, because it means that our net tuition revenue for our athletes from these new programs will be the same as if they were non-athletes. I'm happy to talk very openly about the budget aspect of things if you like there. But I think that this is going to provide great new opportunities for recruitment of additional students who might have gone elsewhere or might not have had opportunities to compete in these emerging sports. I had an opportunity to meet Tracy Tackett. I don't know exactly the terminology, so forgive me for not addressing you with an appropriate title. At one of our outreach events, and we were immediately talking about how to engage the community and really solidify ties. I was at Kiwanis earlier this afternoon, and they asked as well. And we, of course, want deep, substantive ties with Springfield. But there's got to be some fun ones, too. And, painting the town red, I appreciate the effort and doing that. And this week is our homecoming week. And we have our board meeting this week. I'm looking forward next year. Let's start a homecoming parade right here and take it straight down to campus. I mean, we don't have as many fraternities and so forth, but I'm guessing if I got a couple of nice open top cars or a nicely done truck bed, y'all might be willing to ride along. Is it election year? I'm not sure, but so we want to engage with Springfield in deep and meaningful ways. We're grateful that our nursing students, for example, already have a lot of placements in town. A number of business owners and lawyers and others have reached out about wanting to partner with us, and we want to deeply engage in those ways. Also very open, I've met with folks from, did I overstay my time? Okay.
Your 3 minutes is still not up.
Okay. The members of the school board, for example, what can we do to engage with the local school district? What are the opportunities perhaps that we might be able to work collaboratively? And then we've just got a couple of events. The inauguration, everyone is certainly welcome to come. It feels, I gotta say, this just feels a little bit odd, This whole thing, I know it's not about me, but it kind of is, and so that's a little bit awkward. So let's focus instead on our Wittenberg series. That series has been around for decades and working hard to make sure that this is able to continue. Again, a partnership with the city, that we bring wonderful folks, whether they're speakers or in this case, musicians, to come and participate and present for our campus and our community. So I think that's my last slide. So just a few highlights, and sir, if that leaves time for questions, I'm very happy to answer any that anyone may have.
Excellent. Well, I'm super glad you're here. We spent time together, and it was very
Thank
nice to get to know you. So I'm going to go ahead and, commissioners, if you'd like to go ahead and speak or have questions or comments.
I think the Wittenberg Tiger should go first. Welcome, Dr. Brady. I've enjoyed getting to know you. I was on campus last night. There was a group of kids that work on mental health issues in our community called BATS. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome to feel their energy within the Wittenberg community, influencing them, getting them excited, hopefully choosing Wittenberg later on. But, coming up with creative ways to increase the partnership between the city and Wittenberg is so important. I think it's very important to all of us. And I think you are the guy to bridge that gap along with us. So welcome to the community. Thank you for coming here. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Welcome and thank you for coming tonight. We're very proud here in Springfield to have Wittenberg as part of our community, and we look forward to working with you in any way we can to not only help Wittenberg survive, but thrive, because it is important to this community and to the student graduates of Wittenberg. So thank you for being here and reaching out.
Well, thank you. And if I may, I've spent a lot of time reading the history, and there were a couple of key moments in the first decade and a half of the college, as it was, when another church wanted to put a college in town, when they weren't sure they could afford to stay, and Springfield, the community stepped forward and embraced Wittenberg and affirmed that Wittenberg is our college. And I'm deeply thankful, albeit 150 years later, but to know that 180 as we're celebrating soon, that this is our home.
I just wanted to say my appreciation for Wittenberg comes from being an upward bound student.
Yes.
And being a product of Springfield City Schools and being a graduate of the Upward Bound program. It really changed my trajectory and how I was able to interact with my collegiate experience on a whole nother level. So I also went to college with some Wittenberg credits. So I always love to see that little bit on my transcripts, like, oh my gosh, that's right. I was able to earn those credits. So kudos to that, being able to access Wittenberg in that way. Also during middle school, if you were on honor roll or perfect attendance, or if you had behaved the whole semester, you got to go each day for each reward to go to the field house.
Oh.
And so we got to swim, we got to just kind of roam the whole place. So Wittenberg definitely has a special place in my heart, and I have a deep appreciation that they are here, right? So definitely impacted me. So also, as someone that works with Springfield City Schools, we also have a lot of student teachers from Wittenberg. So
Yes.
that is another meaningful way that you guys are already engaged with our district. So if you, I'd love to see maybe you guys connect with like Promise Neighborhood and see how that's another avenue that you can get into a school the fun way.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
The very first students after my interview process, the very first students I met when I came on campus were Upward Bound students. And I love that fact. I love that the program is there. And we actually spent a lot of time in June and July talking about how we can improve that program.
Yeah. If you want any help with that, let me know.
Will do.
As soon as I'm done here, I'll have lots of free time.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you so much for being here. We are with you and the Wittenberg way, and we look forward to things to come in your leadership. Thank you so much for coming tonight and spending time with us.
Thank you very much.
Tiger up.
Tiger up.
I'll let them load their presentation before we start.
Okay, well, we'll move on and introduce our next speakers here for the 2051 presentation. We have a couple of folks here. Marta Wojcik, who you recognize, obviously, from her position with the Westcott House, but she is also representing the committee, the steering committee of the 2051 initiative. And then also David Bureau, who is the founder and CEO of Future IQ, who is the consulting company assisting in this endeavor. I did grab some stuff off your website, but I'll hold off on that because I'm sure you guys will cover everything we need. So please, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'll let David really explain the process that we launched officially publicly mid-August, but this we got to that point with a lot of preparation, and I have to say it's been such an encouraging process because this came as a coalition of basically residents who wanted to do something positive about productive with our energy, pent up energy, I suppose, especially after last year and how we felt we were unfairly portrayed on a national level. We all came to a conclusion after talking to many citizens that we really need a process. We really need community building process. We need community engagement as part of it, and figure out what is our vision for the community. And I'm particularly grateful to people who have been through processes like that and came on board because they feel like this is the right time, and they share the experiences of the last 25 years of previous planning exercises that were really valuable and are really valuable to this process as well. So David is here to help us come together as a community, and I think one of the most valuable things about Springfield 2051 is that it is truly a coalition and that we are building this over the course of 15 months. So we give ourselves time to really gather and listen and get the pulse on the community through directly from citizens of Springfield. So, David?
Thank you, Marta. Thank you for the opportunity to present or provide a briefing today. And Marta, I just wanted to pick up, you mentioned about listening and engaging with the community. Just to give you an example, at 6:30 this morning, we were talking to the doctors and nurses at the hospital, and we were at Wittenberg University having a session there today, and we're meeting with the BATS. Tomorrow morning. So through the course of this, we are hoping or wishing to engage literally thousands of people in high-quality conversation. The point of what I want to cover tonight is just to give you a little bit of context. I know many of you are familiar with the project, but I just wanted to sort of fill in some gaps and sort of share with you a little about what we're exploring as we go through it. As Marta said, there's a very strong coalition of partners who are supporting this, including yourselves, obviously. I think that's a real strength to this. I think it communicates a really powerful and important message to the community when there are so many entities that are coming together to support what is at this stage a community-driven process. I think it's a very powerful set of optics for the community. We have a steering committee, which is a really excellent cross-section of people. Again, I think it's a very good messaging about people who are with philanthropic foundations, with various government instrumentalities, the business community and so on. But to talk a little about what the whole Springfield 2051 is, the way I talk about it, it's really got two dimensions that I think are worth sort of talking about and understanding. One is that it's a very intentional community visioning process. So it's a big conversation about what's the aspiration that people here have for the future. If they could kind of wish and dream what they would look for the next generation to have here, what would that be? I think there's some very important elements of community building and community listening to the community and their concerns and their aspirations. That's a lot of what we're involved in at the moment. So the period of the second half of this year, so July through August through until the end of this year, is that visioning conversation. But then we will pivot over the course of the Christmas, New Year break. And next year, we're going to be really talking about what I would say is a strategic positioning conversation, really pushing the conversation about where does the Springfield area fit into the larger region? Where does it fit into the Midwest? What's the strategic opportunity? So we're trying to couple together two things here, which is that aspirational community building component, but a really grounded strategy that's drilled into the bedrock of good data and good thinking about where opportunities lie for this community in the future. Well, obviously, we will produce out of that an implementation plan. We're very aligned to seeing a pathway from the visioning to the strategic positioning to them being able to implement. I think that's important to demonstrate to people. And our methodology is, it's really got three big factors to it. One is that it's very future-oriented. So we are pushing people, and that's part of that 2051. We are making people or asking people to think a bit further out than they normally would. We also are designing what I would say is a very people-focused approach. And we want the experience of this for people in the community to be very inviting, that they get a chance to come and talk about things that are important to them, but they walk away from every one of those sessions learning something, having some insight about their community, their future, that hopefully is activating and empowering of people. The last component there is obviously data-driven. Now, it's very important that we produce something that is very coherent, is very robust, and is built on very substantial data. Did you want to add anything to that, Mark?
No.
And just perhaps my last couple of slides here is just in terms of a timeline. As I said, this part of this year is really about creating the shared vision. Then we move into that roadmap and then implementation onward. We would hope to have the opportunity to come and be able to brief you on regular intervals through this process. I think there's some very interesting data starting to emerge.
Before you leave that,
Yeah.
if you go back.
Yeah.
I think it's important to recognize that this city commission will have a change of 3 members. Majority of the city commission will turn over in January of 2026. And 2 of the 4 candidates are here tonight. I would encourage you to work not only with the current city commission, but after the November election, the new members of the city commission. This could be, in my estimation, a very helpful effort on your part to assist them as they move in to take over these chairs.
Without having eyes in the back of my head, I know that 2 of those candidates did attend one of our listening sessions, and we did have some subsequent conversation, and we have planned to follow up on that. I actually think it's very exciting that both you as a sitting members, but also potential new elected members of your council are so keenly interested in this process. Obviously, you're not the only actor. There's the county and all the other components as well. But I think it's very encouraging for the community to see the interest that comes from leadership such as yourself.
Good.
And Chris Wallace is working with us on Thursday. We're going to have session with student athletes at Springfield High. So they are gracious enough to get really involved and ask questions, and we are very grateful.
Great, outstanding.
And I did want to share just some very preliminary data with you. So we do have, we've been gathering data from the listening sessions. We're midway in what we call our think tank process. So we had a session on Friday last, we got a session this Friday. And we've launched a community survey. But we've been asking people, and it was actually one of the great discussions at the university today about what's the sweet spot. So this is that strategic positioning. Where do you really sort of optimize your future? And also asking people how they see the area needs to evolve and transform to take advantage of opportunities. So this is very preliminary, so I'm not going to go into the data, but we're doing a lot of work mapping.
David, you do have some time. So don't feel rushed.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
We do have time.
Okay. So we've been doing a bit of work sort of mapping what's emerging as these themes. So part of what we want to bring to this is from our side is, we get a lot of input from the community, a lot of words, a lot of conversation. So we try to structure that and feed that back in a way of here's the core components of what we hear people are talking about. And if you look at this, the blue circles are what the topics that people are talking about, the key strategic positioning, and the green topics are the areas that people see there's opportunity to evolve and transform, which empowers or enables those strategic positioning pieces. Just to walk you through this, because I actually think, although it's very preliminary and we're still mapping some more data over this, I think it's starting to see a bit of a picture emerge. So in the upper right there, you'll see the blue dot says transportation location. One of the things people have talked a lot about is how does Springfield leverage the proximity to Columbus, or that position between Dayton and Columbus? And there's that sort of fork in the road of how do you become a sort of a force of your own right and not just get absorbed as a dormitory community to the growth in Columbus. I think that's a very important future splitting strategic discussion. So the notion of regional collaboration and that mobility and connectivity are those sort of components that circle around that. The upper left, agriculture, because you're and I think more broadly, probably agriculture and resources. People talk a lot about the water aquifers here and the quality of the environment. People see that as something that there could be room to leverage. But then coming down in the middle in the lower right, there's a really interesting cluster here of, which I think is super relevant to yourselves and to your staff, the downtown public spaces, the arts and culture, and then the diversity and inclusivity. So people are seeing a very connected set of issues there and talk a lot about the function of public spaces and being able to build and connect community, but also to sort of spur innovation and creativity through arts and culture. And then obviously leveraging into innovation technology. And then there's another whole big component in the upper left there, or middle left, which is about affordability in housing, youth opportunities. Now, a lot of discussion, a lot of, I guess, question about how do you evolve your community to be a place where people thrive. You know, and I think the comments from the university are just so perfect on that, you know, that issue about jobs and opportunity. Please.
I want to encourage you in the area of agriculture.
Yeah.
But also as it marries to advanced aeronautics.
Yeah.
The Global Impact STEM Academy was founded based on ag bioscience. As my friends in the Clark County Farm Bureau put it, the Global Impact STEM Academy is not about cows, plows, or sows. It's about young men and women in white lab coats working on food, fuel, the environment, and fabric. And now we have coupled that at GISA, Global Impact STEM Academy, with the whole advanced aeronautics at the Springfield Airport. So we're looking at not only potential careers and jobs coming out of the advanced aeronautics, the National Center, which is at our airport, but also combining it with ag bioscience and the potential impact of that whole thing. And so you've got schools preparing a pipeline of workers in those two areas in cooperation with, hopefully, Wittenberg, some of the other higher ed institutions. So I would hope that you take a look at that, because that pipeline is built and we have students coming through that pipeline as we meet tonight.
Yeah, and thank you for raising that. And that is a lot of what's embedded in that innovation and technology set of components there. And I think there's going to be a lot more substance to these discussions. I'm really sort of reflecting here really the raw data from community, sort of fairly kind of light input at this stage, but we're going to be digging deeper into these as we go. But there was an additional piece of data I wanted to share with you from the community survey. So again, very preliminary data. You know, we hope to have over 1,000 people complete this, and these will be what I call high quality data points. So we'll know who the people are. Literally, it's a real person took it, but we'll know where they live. You know, we've segmented the county and the city, and but also a lot about their age and so on. But this is very preliminary. But it really jumped out at me when I was looking at this data, and I think this was last night when I downloaded this. We asked this question about how would you describe the current community dynamics of Springfield, and I know this is something you deal with in a very tangible fashion, but it's unusual to see a community sort of biased or skewed towards the number of people there saying that they feel the community dynamic is very divided. In fact, there was nobody who's picked a +5, which is very united. I think that points to the importance of this initial period of 4 or 5 months that we're doing, which is a lot of community building, a lot of community conversation. We're meeting with as many different groups to get voices involved in, and really inviting people to think about where does the shared future lie? What's the shared vision? And so by the time we get to January, we will have what will be emerging will be a very strong notion of a shared vision that people are buying in. And it's directly addressing that dynamic. And I think that's only healthy for a community to move beyond the sense of a division and move to what is the sense of a shared vision for the future. So that, I think, is a very important layer of what we're doing. That sets the stage, I think, for them people to be invited into those more strategic and robust conversations. That's difficult to have when people feel that the community is a little at odds with each other. But I just thought I'd share this with you, that that this is coming through in the data in this way. That may change, right? So it is only preliminary. I suspect it won't change that much, to be honest. Having seen a lot of these sort of results, the first blush often is a pretty good reflection. But I did want to just share that with you, and we'll give you updates as we go through the process. Thank you.
Okay. Is there other comments from commissioners?
Yes, I have a few. Thank you guys for the work you're doing in the community. I've been able to attend one session. I have another one scheduled. I was curious, I have a few notes here. I was curious about, it seems like I'm seeing the opportunities often to attend these events, to do a survey. Can you talk a little bit about how extensive you're working to connect with the community? How many meetings and what have you held and what's coming up so that people can be a part of this also?
Yeah, so David, you pitch in on that, but we very intentionally created a network of about 60 members of advisory group, and we are looking at all the community sectors, trying to engage people from these sectors. And then we have this assures that if I don't know, the small steering committee doesn't know how to engage certain population, there's someone on that advisory group who can. And that's how we've been scheduling these listening sessions. So we have identified groups to work with, and we ask, for example, last night we had a session with Fathering Strong and Promise Neighborhood. John Upshaw has been very active, and he's been tremendous to recruit various residents in the community. He also helped with youth service providers. We had a session in August. We try to schedule, basically when David is in town, we try to schedule 3 or 4 meetings, which is, an hour and a half. It's pretty intense.
That's per day, 3 or 4
per day. Yes. So it's pretty intense, and but that's just, it's been just great to see that people are willing and they are very honest in the conversations. And of course, with David's experience and going through same sets of questions, he can gather the data that is really powerful. So we encourage you guys, if you have any ideas, people keep coming to us. Have you thought about this group? Or have you thought about this person to reach out and talk to? So we continue to engage people. And in October, we will have community visioning sessions that are even bigger. Gatherings that people will have ability to respond to some of the initial ideas for the scenarios for the future. So that should be quite interesting.
And if I could add one thing to that as well, I wanted to, let me just jump forward a little bit here. We do have a dedicated project website. So the URL is springfield2051.com. And that is our go-to resource. So we are posting sessions there. People can register there. We've got a whole bunch of videos that we've taken with people talking about their sort of hopes for the future. And as the survey results start to come through, we'll be posting all that there. So we are attempting to make it very transparent and very open, right? And people will be able to go in and be able to filter the data and look at it for themselves. I think that's a principle that's very important. And so the door's open. We expect to engage in a meaningful way with thousands of people through this process. Hopefully, I think 1,000 people taking the survey to me is a low bar in this community. But we are having, where I'm here a week every month, and we're just packing every week with as many sessions as we can feasibly do.
I know I find it impressive about how immersive you guys have been and proactive in reaching out to the community. Another point I wanted to make, your connection slide up there. As a commissioner, this is very reflective of what I hear and hear in our meetings, plus out there in the community. So, I think you're getting it to be on point with some of the issues that we have, and then how we can improve it and what people find is important to improve their lives in our community, and to address and say that last slide about the work we need to do to bring folks back together and connect our community together. I think that that is something as leadership in the community we can definitely work to do a better job with, and being engaged with the community and create opportunities to meet with citizens more. As I know, I've spoke to the city manager about creating town halls. But I think this project is also a little piece that's going to help with that, increase citizens' voices and feel like they're connected together. It's just creating those opportunities to bring them together, and you guys are doing that. So thank you.
I add one thing to that too, is that my take on this, and going on the outsider, right? So I just have a slightly different slant on it, but I do really think, if I look at, from what I'm hearing from people, and I look at the data that we've been exploring as we've been doing some of our situational analysis, but also in the think tank, I think you're a community that is at a very interesting inflection point. And so for me, there's as many headwinds as there are tailwinds, but you've at least got strong tailwinds. And I think people sense that. To me, there's a sense in the community that maybe this started in, sort of unfortunate circumstance or unexpected circumstance, but people are really hungry for this conversation. And I think I find people are leaning into it in a very positive way, in a very hopeful way.
First of all, thank you for doing this work, and thank you for coming tonight. I think this is not only important work, but extremely timely work, as you mentioned. I think it couldn't come at a better time, because we do have not only some challenges, but I believe we have some incredible opportunities, and we need to explore those together. One thing that you didn't mention that I know you covered the other day at Rotary was, this is not only open to the people of the city of Springfield, it's open to the entire area of Springfield. Would you expand on that a little, please?
Yeah, we were very conscious. We were very conscious not to draw lines, and so we're broadly calling it the Springfield area, and geographically that's probably approximates Clark County. But there are obviously a lot of people who have skin in the game, who are stakeholders in this community, people who work elsewhere and live here, or live here and work elsewhere, and so on, right? So we're opening it up so that people who feel that they have a connection to this community, or that they have something that they want to contribute, are able to participate. We are able to filter the data though, and you can look at it by people who live inside or outside the city or the county and so on, because I think it is important for people to be able to see that differential. But this is an invitation to be part of shaping the future of this area. And obviously the city is the epicenter, but there's an important ecosystem that radiates around it.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing. We look forward to the results and all your effort. And I think I was surprised not to see a slide up there for this, but this is one way that people can access the survey.
Yes, and could we leave copies
Absolutely.
for tonight?
And take some with you, pass them out to folks. This is the way to get entire community input.
Yeah, and as we mentioned to listening session participants, if you can talk to people to emphasize the importance of it, because it is it involves some thinking and about 10 minutes of your time. It's not super quick, but that's why we want thoughtful responses. So then David has the data to support it, and the goal is at least 1,000 people. So we are probably at 200 maybe. So yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for your work. You have more, Crystal?
Yes, I certainly do. So I just wanted to say, repeating what they've said, thank you for this work. But what I want to encourage from the community, from my perspective, is I don't care what your thoughts are, but this is now the time. I probably shouldn't have said it like that, because somebody's probably going to parse only that out, right? But whatever your thoughts may be, please share them. This is your time.
Yes.
whether you think somebody's going to agree with you or whether you may think, well, they're not going to care, please just everybody fill this out so that we can get real data, so that we can start to get to what we can do differently as a city to make sure that everybody feels included and everybody feels safe, right? So I just really want to say thank you for doing this. And if you have like oodles and goodles of these, I would love to take a lot of them from you.
Absolutely. I'll
Just so
make
that
sure
we can
you
get
have.
them handed out.
Yeah, we talk to people. If you go to church, if you go to any gathering, just
Yes.
take them. And we also distribute them online. So that website has a direct link to it on a homepage. And we send out emails to everyone who is willing to be on a mailing list. So
And I just shared it right here. I'm going to say it. I just shared it on Facebook sitting right here because it's super important, and it ends on October 30th. So, that's not a huge window to get everyone. So I want to get excited about this and get other people excited about getting this done.
thank you.
So much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to conclude the informal work session?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. Okay, the formal meeting for city commissions called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Here.
Dr. Estrop,
Here.
Mrs. Houston, Mrs. Tackett,
Here.
Mr. Rue.
Here. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge. Father, I thank you just for your eye on this community. God, I ask that you would bless Wittenberg and the other educational institutions in our community. I pray that you would use them to continue to instill hope and vision into our youth. God, I ask for peace in our community. And we ask for wisdom and guidance in your name. Amen. Is there a motion to approve minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Here.
Doc-
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. The City Commission remains committed to creating a conducive environment for constructive and productive dialogue and engagement for the community. Public comments will remain at the beginning of the legislative period and will be accepted for 15 minutes past the time of the call to order. Those wishing to fill out a public comment card must provide name and address for the record, also a state-issued ID or driver's license. They need to fill out the information saying they're residing in Springfield, and their card will be accepted. If they're found to give us false information, they will not be permitted to speak at this meeting or the next meeting. We appreciate citizen feedback, and the commission stating the address of the speakers. We'll just be saying the name. We won't be saying the address. We have decided to modify the practice from no longer read addresses. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself because I got off script. So you know what we're doing, right? We're truly committed to making the meeting an environment where people have the opportunity to share their ideas, thoughts, and concerns. The commissioners and the staff are listening, taking notes, and researching information relative to your comments. While honoring your First Amendment principles, the City Commission reserves the right to regulate the place, time, and manner in which public comments to ensure the proceedings remain orderly, respectful, and conducive for constructive dialogue. While we fully respect First Amendment rights of all individuals, disruptions of any kind that impedes the orderly progress of our meeting will not be tolerated. Should any individual be escorted or asked to leave due to disruptive behavior on 3 separate occasions, they'll be notified they're considered trespassed and barred from future meetings. After public comment period, the City Commission will respond to matters brought forth during the public comment period and will also direct the city manager and staff to answer questions during the public comment period. If a question asked requires additional research, the city manager and staff will follow up with that individual in the next several business days, and we'll post those answers on our website. Before we continue with comments, before we begin with comments, I'd like to ask Chief Elliott to address the commission regarding a matter of deep concern to our community.
Good evening, Mayor Rue. Thank you, and Commission, thank you. The Springfield Police Division extends our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Foley. We know this loss is deeply felt, and our thoughts are with all who are grieving during this difficult time. We also recognize that this is an incredibly challenging situation for the officers involved. As the investigative process continues, we ask for patience and understanding from the community. It is essential that we allow space for healing while also ensuring a fair, impartial, and thorough review guided by the facts. At this time, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is the lead agency conducting a comprehensive and independent review. Because this remains an active BCI investigation, we are not able to provide additional comments. We remain committed to transparency and accountability and will continue to cooperate fully with BCI as their process moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your information. Won't ask any questions. Continue to thank you for your leadership. We have one comment card tonight. That's Diane Daniels.
Good evening, Commissioners. The Project 2051 is kind of serendipitous, and his last comments about having open dialogue. Gosh, haven't I been begging for that since 2023, town halls and so forth. I'm going to make some citations tonight, gleaned from some articles that were written over the last couple of months. This is from WDTN of August 22nd. Title of the article is Ending TPS. While that air of uncertainty will most likely linger here in Springfield for the Haitian population, leaders say they're going to be preparing for any outcome that may come their way in 2026. Preparing? Well, what about the homeless? Both Barron and I have been up here asking what your plan is for American citizens this winter. This winter is not going to be any better. It's going to be worse than it was last year. September 19th, News and Sun. An increasing number of Haitian immigrants who lost their jobs and other benefits are seeking assistance with food, rent, utilities, and other basic needs. Boo-hoo. Groups like St. Vincent de Paul are seeing a growing need among Haitian immigrants that is really getting intense. Again, boo-hoo. Director Casey Rowland said after a Haitian coalition meeting recently. The president of the Haitian Community Support Center said that the center is seeing more people seeking assistance. He said he's afraid it will turn into a humanitarian crisis. We had a humanitarian crisis last winter, and what did you do? Nothing. It took citizens to step up and fill the void. This one is from an article also from the News Sun on ending TPS, actually from a little while ago, 3/2/25. This is also from the president of the Haitian Community Coalition. Because human beings have that kind of survival instinct, so instead of staying here and die, they will do other things that may not be right to survive. You have no idea what's coming, do you? You don't. This grand social restructuring experiment initiated by Welcome Springfield in February of 2014 and Resolution 5844 in July of 2014 is going to blow up in your face. What are you going to do? You're going to call on Governor DeWine for more tax dollars to feed the hungry Haitians? What are you going to do about us?
That's the end of our comments. We'll continue with our business meeting after we hear comments from commissioners.
I just wanted to report that in terms of funding from the federal government, there is no progress to report at this time.
Comments from commissioners, announcements?
Just want to acknowledge the work that was done to create Muster Fest this weekend. Looked like a great turnout and folks enjoyed it. Little wiener dogs running around, and it was a great activity downtown. So I know that we post information on the CBB calendar. If you're ever looking for things to do around here, there's plenty to do.
Okay, we'll continue with first readings.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Rumpke of Ohio Incorporated for the city's 2025 collection of bagged leaves program for an amount not to exceed $82,001. Authorizing the forgiveness of certain interest and other charges and release of the city's mortgage with Mental Health and Recovery Board of Clark, Greene, and Madison counties.
Could we share the dates of the bag leaf pickup?
Sure, Chris, could you cover those dates for us?
Good evening. Bag leaf pickup is currently scheduled for Saturday, November 8th and Saturday, December 6th. And we will get that out on the website and social media as it gets closer.
Thank you. Dr. Estrop?
Before you step down, Chris, is there some way in particular that the citizens of Springfield should prepare? I mean, certain bags they should use, or you have, it doesn't matter?
Nope, excuse me. We're happy with any bag. They don't need to go spend a lot of money on fancy bags from Lowe's or Home Depot. Any trash bag will work. Some people have very few leaves and they'll sit out a bunch of Kroger bags. We take those too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tom, can you speak to the mortgage forgiveness, 15715,
Sure.
or Logan?
Logan, I'll take a stab at it if you need to fill in, but basically it's forgiveness of a loan that we had in place with Mental Health and Recovery Board to construct two double at the corner of Ray Street and Cedar Street a few years ago. This was utilizing home funds and NSP dollars, if you remember that program. So what's happening here is they're transferring this to Mental Health for these to continue. We do have a covenant restriction on there that they be restricted for low to mod income, and that restriction will stay for the 20-year period. No changes.
Excellent,
You
thank
okay?
you. Other comments on first readings? Comments from the public? We'll continue with second reading. I'm sorry. Please come to the mic.
Can we get the dates on the leave bag?
Again?
Yes, sir.
I think it was November.
It was Saturday, November 8th, and Saturday, December 6th.
Any bag. Okay, we'll continue with second readings now.
Authorizing the issuance of a purchase order for the purchase of upgraded wayside horn systems for 4 railroad crossings from Rio Grande Pacific Technology Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $110,400.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? Dr. Estrop?
Talk about that. Those who missed it, tell us why this is so important, why we're spending $110,000 on.
We have a corridor through our community where the trains do not blow the horns. And the mechanism that tells the engineers not to blow the horn would be the red X's you sometimes see down the track. Those red X's are approaching 17 to 20 years old, and they're starting to fail. What we hope to do here is replace 4 of those and then take the pieces and parts from the ones that we totally replace and use those to make repairs to the other ones to limp those along for a few more years.
So a very important part of our whole issue or our whole initiative around safety in the railroads in this.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Chris, really quickly, did you say where you would be doing these updates at, or where are those spots located at?
It will really depend on which 4 are in the worst shape when these finally arrive. But it's the railroad corridor that runs, it crosses Burnett Road, over around Kenton Street, and then runs down parallel to Sheridan Avenue, over crosses East Street, and then runs through the downtown.
Thank you.
I think Brian also said there was like parts within these existing ones that we can reuse that maybe aren't worn out. I think
Yes,
something
that's
like
it,
that.
yeah. When we will take the 4 down, save all the good pieces and parts, and use them to repair the existing.
Separate question. Would those crossings right there by Topre, like Champion, like going back behind and around the side by Topre, you know what I'm talking about? Would those be considered like an example of no horn, like a no horn place, or
No.
do they? Okay, got it.
Yeah, they still blow their horns through those intersections.
Got it. So it has nothing to do with the signals or anything, lights or anything like that.
Well, it's all interrelated.
Okay.
You will come to some crossings downtown and you'll see where the crossing arms are different. Some places there are 4 arms instead of 2.
Okay.
And you may have noticed there are concrete medians at some of the crossings
Okay.
to keep people from making U-turns or going around the arms.
Sure.
There has to be special protective measures put in place to keep the engineers from blowing the horns.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes?
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to accept conveyance of easements and dedicating those certain rights in real estate for the purpose of constructing, reconstructing, operating, and maintaining sanitary sewer infrastructure.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. You want to give us just a quick overview of this?
These easements are to allow us to upgrade a sewer that runs from Northern Estates along the west side of Eastview Heights and then heads over toward the area of Belmont Avenue and Home Road. There's a ditch through that area and our sewer is exposed in that ditch. We want to get the sewer out of the ditch. In order to do that, we have to get easements from these 3 property owners. Their backyards butt up to the field where our sewer lies.
Thank you. Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes?
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a development incentive agreement to provide for water and sewer services to real property outside the city limits located at 1046 Villa Road.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? Dr. Estrop?
We've had a long-standing practice that we do not provide sewer and water to areas outside of the city. But as I recall, we've previously provided it to this particular resident, and this is simply a change in name. We're not changing our practice.
That's correct. This is a transfer of ownership of the home.
Okay, because
Sustaining.
I think, that old adage, membership has its privileges. One of the privileges of being a resident of the city of Springfield is you have city water and sewer. Thank you very much.
The comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes,
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Providing for supplemental appropriations within various funds and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
second.
Been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? From the audience? Go ahead, please. Thank you. Just state your name is all.
I was just wondering, can you explain that a little bit more? What is?
Katie, if you want to highlight some of the ones and what this is exactly for, and
Certainly,
help us
happy-
understand. Thank you.
Certainly, happy to do so. So commission is required to approve any up and down adjustments within our budget. And that comes in the form of appropriation. So roughly $750,000 here is related to higher utility costs. So we discussed with commission back in May, our electric supply rates increased by 43% after the PJM capacity auction. And essentially that 43% is due to increased demand across the country and aging infrastructure. So for context, the city spent roughly $2.5 million on electricity for all of 2024. We still have a few months remaining in 2025, and we've already hit $2.8 million. In addition, with natural gas, we spent $358,000 in 2024. We've spent $589,000 to this point in 2025. Now, part of the reason for the natural gas increase is largely due to a digester being down at our wastewater treatment plant. That is not predicted to be back online until 2027 due to supply chain and fabrication timelines. There's delays there. So that downtime increases our reliance on natural gas. And just for the public to know, you can see the full list of these supplemental appropriations by fund, by department on the city's website the Friday before a commission meeting. That's included in that agenda for commission as well.
Excellent. Dr. Estrop?
What was the amount for electricity again, please?
So in 2024, that number was $2.5 million, Commissioner, and we're already at $2.8 million this year.
If there's any doubt about what a monopoly does to prices, this is the best example I can think of. PUCO, the Public Utilities Commission, does nothing to stand up for the consumers of this state. We are being stalled on economic growth. We are being hijacked by our electric company, and nobody is willing to do anything about it. Well, at least I want to speak out and say we need competition. I don't care where it comes from, but it is not working in Ohio. Ohio is losing a lot of economic development opportunities and jobs that we could have in this state because we don't have enough electrical power to power those kinds of industries. Why not? Because it's a simple matter of economics. When supply stays the same and demand goes up, prices go up. And that's what's happening. We're all going to continue to pay through the nose for this monopolistic system we have in the state of Ohio. Thank you.
Mr. Exroth, you have a follow-up comment?
Yeah, you mentioned, like within your guys' budget. Where can I find that?
The 2025 budget is also available on the city's website. You should be able to go to finance and locate that document there.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett? Yes. Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Confirming purchases and the obtaining of services for the city and providing for payments therefore and declaring an emergency therein.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Ms. Katie, you want to go ahead and provide an overview for this too, please?
Certainly, Mayor. So per our city charter, commission is required to approve any payment over $100 when a good or service has been provided and a purchase order has not been in place. So a good example of that is, if you'll recall, we brought a grant amendment for the Federal Transit Administration, FTA, to commission at the last meeting to approve. There was a delay with FTA in getting that amendment in place, but that meant that we could not get that purchase order in place for those services that were already being provided by VIA field trips, as we all know it, that began in July. And so in order for us to make that payment to VIA for their services up until this date, when commission approves this item, commission is required to approve those invoices. So that's an example and how those come to be.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett? Yes. Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Confirming and approving payment of up to $92,500 to Shared Resource Center for consulting services provided during 2024 to 2025 and declaring an emergency therein.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. You want to explain this too, please, Mom? Or Katie? Thank you.
Certainly, Mayor. So the Shared Resource Center is a regional government finance consulting group that provides temporary support to cities like Springfield. We brought them in last fall to assist with financial operations during our software transition, also staffing changes, disruptions, and in our capacity as the fiscal agent for the Clark County Park District. The $92,000 item that's before you today is the final change to close out that contract. And just a reminder, it's been very difficult. It's difficult across the country to hire public finance professionals. So as an example in evaluating within finance, our authorized strength, we started 2025 with 46.25 FTEs, which is full-time equivalent budgeted. We're currently sitting at 29.5 full-time equivalents actually on staff within the finance division.
Thank you. The comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes.
Confirming and approving change order number 6 to the contract between the city and the official company for the 2024 Bechtel and Villa Sidewalk Curb and Gutter Program to decrease the contract in an amount not to exceed $58,414.75 for a total contract amount not to exceed $572,557.47, authorizing the city manager to execute said change order number 6 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners?
Love it.
Yeah.
Dr. Estrop?
I was
Brown?
waiting for you. I knew you were.
Any other comments from, go ahead.
I do have a question. Can we just have just a quick reminder of what all of this is? Could you just give another, not an update, but a brief overview? Thank you.
So this particular contract was upgrading the sidewalks and the curb on Bechtel Avenue between, we'll say Dairy Queen and Bob Evans, and Villa Road between Middle Urbana and Durr in anticipation of upcoming paving. The reason for the decrease on the contract is between the time the project was estimated and bid and the time the work was done, there were some of the ADA compliant ramps were already replaced due to other construction, and there were some driveways that some folks took care of on their own, and they didn't have to be done, so that got us a nice decrease on this one.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes.
Confirming and approving the acceptance of the material terms of the secondary manufacturers settlement agreements pursuant to the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding regarding the pursuit and use of potential opioid litigation settlement funds and consistent with the material terms of the April 4, 2025 secondary manufacturers settlement agreements available at https://nationalopioidsettlement.com and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I ask our law director to go ahead and explain the settlement agreement.
Yes, this is a settlement with the 8 smaller opioid manufacturers under the One Ohio MOU. So to participate in this, political subdivisions have to opt in, and this is legislation being presented tonight for our active participation.
Dr. Estrop?
Jill, was this settled by the Attorney General of the state of Ohio?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes.
And there was an add-on, appointing Basil Fett to the Springfield Historic Landmarks Commission and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, but only if he sings the national anthem. Pardon me. No, he has a beautiful voice, if you know Basil. Other comments from the commissioner? Appreciate his continued service. He has served on this in the past. Commissioner Tackett, you know this is your committee, he was on there back when I started, and so he's really got a lot of wisdom. So glad he's serving on this. Other comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. Thank you for coming.